The last couple of weeks were very eventful, and I would like to congratulate all the toppers and also express my gratitude towards their gesture. They came up with the testimonial supporting the work on the Telegram channel, and I'm very humbled with that. Also, with the launch of VKIS, a lot of students approached me seeking the mentorship service, which is what the flagship product of VKIS would be like. But I would like to explain certain things about what my idea of mentorship is and why it is relevant for this examinations preparation. I believe in ensuring that the students take an informed decision before they seek any service. And it is because of this responsibility I'm making this video. Not just at VKIS, anywhere else in the market. If you're seeking a service, it's important to have these realistic expectations. Now let's get to the point. What is the idea of mentorship? We know that there are 3 stages in this examination. I'll be beginning with what is the expectation in mains, because this is where the interpretation changes. It is very, very subjective when it comes to mains. So let me clarify what is my take on mentorship. The most important request that I got is they wanted me to evaluate their daily answer writing. I denied that. And I ought to give them an explanation why I denied that. In mains, you need to understand that GS 1, 2, 3, 4, these 4 papers happen in 2 consecutive days in morning and afternoon sessions. So can you sustain the enthusiasm that is there in the first hour of GS1 in the last hour of GS4? Usually the energy dips. It's a very, very draining process. Those who did not undergo that process will not understand what I'm trying to say. And those who already went through, I don't have to explain. The practice is necessary for those candidates to ensure that the enthusiasm in the first hour and also in the last hour of GS4 paper are same. But to ensure that, a student should pass through certain stages. Knowledge, organization of this knowledge in the form of short notes, using the short notes in the form of presentation, and then finally practicing it. Mindlessly writing answers day in and day out without a sense of direction is a recipe for disaster, especially for freshers. I do not advocate it. There is one argument. There is no end to the syllabus, so you should writing answers from day one. I would put it very bluntly. This is a myth propagated just to engage the students and make them busy. You are busy, but you're not productive. I'll tell you why. Why am I saying this? This is a very serious accusation that I'm making. So I need to back it up with logic. Let's say you're a fresher. You don't have the body of knowledge to write answers on a daily basis. So you pick up a topic, usually from a newspaper article, and then you start writing answers on that topic. So since you don't understand the question or neither you have the content, you sit for 2 hours to research this content and then write an answer. The entire process will take around 2 to 2.5 hours. And you repeat this for 1 week, let's say. On the 8th day, I am sure you don't remember what you wrote on day 1. This is something that I already discussed in the interview with All India Rank 4 Smriti Mishra's interview as well. So daily answer writing is not only undesirable, but it is also harmful for your preparation if not done at the right time and in the right manner. You might disagree with me. There can be a lot of debates on this point, but you're free to interpret it. I have told you my logic and my reasoning. So what is my advice here? No daily answer writing. Focus on subject by subject short note orientation first. Once your short notes are ready and you are ready to revise it, then practice some tests. And these tests should be either a 90-minute test, which is conducted periodically, or a 180-minute test, because when you write under pressure, that is the only answer writing that counts, which brings out the best in you. Again, if you keep on writing daily, when it really matters, you will arrive at a stage where you are burnt out and your energy levels are absolutely low. I've personally seen a lot of candidates going through that. Now comes the test series. Why do we have to write test series? Because it gives a critical feedback on how to improve your presentation and also how you enhance your marks. Now, what is a good test series? It is a test series that gives you critical feedback on where to work on your memory, how to improve your critical analysis, and how to incorporate this interdisciplinary approach. That is common language. We know, like, there are various frameworks like pestle analysis, political, social, economical, etc., etc. This interdisciplinary approach, everybody knows it. A generic feedback does not help here. Now, what do you mean by clarity? How do you improve that clarity? Where to improve that clarity? How to improve this presentation, and how to ensure that you have the problem solving skills? In order to give this sort of evaluation, it requires at least 45 to 50 minutes of evaluation for each copy. And this 45 to 50 minutes is just for understanding what the candidate is writing and how to improve it. This is proper time spent for each evaluation. And if the evaluator needs to give this feedback, it requires continuous effort to update themselves on a daily basis. Because let's say if I give a key, and if I ask a person to evaluate a copy in tandem with the key, it is quite possible that the candidate has written something beyond this key, and the evaluator is not in a position to gauge the depth of this candidate. And by mistake, if the candidate is awarded below average marks, it will impact their confidence very badly. So here is where mentorship becomes slightly different from a traditional test series. When a student approaches for mentorship, the mentor is a candidate who himself or herself evaluates his own preparation on a daily basis. There is a constant upgrade of knowledge, not just knowledge, all the aspects that we discussed, whether it is knowledge, organization of this knowledge, or the new techniques of presentation, and then finally the practice. Maybe the mentors need not practice it just like how candidates have to, but they have to keep on evolving on these aspects, and it requires time and energy and a lot of motivation and enthusiasm for the mentors. Only then this evaluation will see some positive outcome. Otherwise, it's just a futile exercise. If I give you a key, and if I just ask you to, just go and refer to that key, there is no point of this evaluation. So test series evaluation takes a lot of time and effort, and this is what really matters. Alternatively, if you at least understand the thought process behind every question, that can help. It requires constant effort to understand a student's thought process, where that student might be making some mistakes, and explain that thought process if evaluation is not possible on a regular basis. Thirdly, one has to understand that instead of spending this time, 45 to 50 minutes on a single copy for proper evaluation, a teacher would find it more rewarding to teach in a class for 1 hour. So you have to understand that evaluation is not a remunerative aspect of this coaching industry. So it is very difficult to find quality. Why am I telling you this? I'll tell you why. When I spoke about all of this, you have to understand that it is not because evaluators are not talented enough to give you that kind of feedback, but there is no incentive for that. Way back in, let's say, 2015-16, when someone wants to be an evaluator, there is a qualification, a minimum prerequisite to ensure that you are trained as an evaluator to give the actual quality feedback. But after 2016, there is so much influx into the UPSC market, and with the advent of free internet and cheap internet, access to materials is no longer the problem, and that is also predominantly one reason why prelims difficulty and uncertainty is increasing. I would partially attribute that to the shortcut techniques that are advocated on social media. They worked previously. Materials worked previously. Right now, we require original thinking. Original thinking is not something that can be delivered through lectures and PDFs. It is something of a process that you have to go through. And this process takes time. both for the mentors and the mentees. So the prerequisite is patience, both for mentors as well as mentees. So how does mentorship exactly help? First stage is where your scattered sources of knowledge are all brought together at a single platform. Remember, in none of the mentorship services that you find across the country, you would see teaching, because that is again a part of the traditional foundation courses. The problem with this foundation courses, usually how they're organized is there is no coherence on the, or there is no logical sequence in which these subjects are taught. After 1 year, the student is left with a scattered body of knowledge, but there is no confidence that the student will be in a position to take this examination with confidence. So here is where mentorship services can help to those who already went through this traditional foundation courses. Firstly, this scattered knowledge will be organized through certain pathways, learning pathways, where the candidates know the requirement of this examination in that particular subject. Then it is followed by methods and ways where you can organize and learn those presentation techniques through short notes and some visual techniques. It is then you would see the stage of exams, evaluation, etc., where practice comes into the picture. So for all of this, when you have the sense of direction, okay, a direction as well as clarity, the number of exams that you write before prelims need not be high. It is the ready-made notes that you have before prelims that gives you a sense of confidence. So ideally, what I would suggest is before prelims, you have all the basic notes, as well as you are someone who already addressed all the previous year questions and wrote them at least once. This is also what would be a part of my mentorship program. This is what I believe in. This is what everyone should ideally do, according to me. Whether you are going to take the mentorship service here or not is immaterial. So the first few months will involve this organization of knowledge, as well as learning how to make this short notes through certain directives which will be given as a part of the program. Only then I will ensure that you write the previous year questions and also some other questions which are relevant for next year. And all of this will be concluded by the time of November end or December, because after that, looking at the uncertainty in prelims, you have to change your gears and get yourself into the prelims mode. Unless and until I have complete control over what you're reading, I cannot be sure about how you would be performing. So at different stages of your preparation, you might be in different phases. Like you might be someone who acquired knowledge, or you did not organize that completely subject by subject. Or maybe you are someone who did it but did not get enough practice. I wouldn't know. And it is because of this reason I had been asking for your feedback and asking your background stories to understand you better. So the last 1 week was spent on this research, and these are the findings that I noticed. Whether you take the mentorship service here or not is immaterial, but wherever you are taking it, you have to go through these processes, and it requires a lot of patience. And it requires a specific, precise sense of direction. The next thing is about current affairs. When you're preparing for current affairs, you should not look at it just like it is a prelims pointer or a mains pointer. You have to read it together, and by linking it to the static. It is a theme altogether. Let's say, for example, if you're talking about water resources, from geography, that is just one perspective, you need to know where you would find these water resources and how much. So by knowing this, you will be in a position to apply this logic even in the preliminary level also. And if there are any thematic issues or specific prelims pointers, you can revise them between November and March or May, because that is when it would stick in your short-term memory. This is the time where you will revise, learn all the techniques which are relevant for prelims, and you would be in the prelims mode. But when you're coming to the issue or thematic preparation of current affairs, mains, prelims, and static should be organized at one place. Otherwise, it will not stick in your long-term memory. I will just show one evaluated copy. I'm not going to show the entire copy because I don't want to disclose the identity of that candidate. But I'll tell you what I observed in this sample essay that the candidate wrote. There are certain preconceived notions in the market, especially with respect to essay, that you have to, start with an anecdote, or you have to collect some quotes, or you have to use some flowery language, etc., etc. As a fresher, I used to believe the same thing as well, but it's completely wrong. And here is where mentorship or experience comes into the picture. The very first problem with the essay that this candidate wrote was, even after reading for 3 or 4 pages, I did not understand what was the central point of the interpretation of that question. So it does not have any coherence at all. At one point of time, I used to make similar mistakes, and my teachers and mentors also pointed out the same things. So it requires not only academic understanding, but also the art of writing essays. This is very unique and very personal. Every candidate has one style. Not everyone can write beautifully artistically. And not every candidate is bad just because they can't write flowery language. There are candidates who wrote in plain English and scored excellent marks. So it requires not just knowledge, but also a lot of customization depending on that candidate's needs. So we have to suggest any advice depending on the mindset of that candidate, and requires an awareness of what the candidate knows and what the candidate does not know, their limitations. So all of this requires time. So you need to understand mentorship as a service requires a lot of effort than teaching, because this is involving a lot of customization. So take your decisions accordingly, because it involves experience, time, effort, energy, enthusiasm for a very long period of time, both from the mentor's side as well as the mentee's side. I hope you found this video useful in making an informed decision. And that is what I wanted to communicate, irrespective of the fact whether you want to take the mentorship service at VKIS or not. Also, for 2024 candidates, because of the aforementioned reasons, there are certain limitations on how many members I can accommodate. So I hope you understand when I'm asking for details, it is not to sell your data like someone questioned me. It's because I understand if I can add value to your preparation. It's a responsibility. It's not just a commercial product alone. Yes, I do have an organization to run, and therefore I charge for all the quality that I ensure. But at the same time, this program is not for everyone, especially if you are someone who never had at least a foundation course or an understanding of the basics. More details will be revealed soon. I hope you found this useful. That's it for now. Thank you.